And now back to Captain N and the new Superman world. Oh, that was fun.
I mean, they're going to be both. My whole career is both. Everything I do is both. You know, like everything I'm doing is as a fan. I'm working on all the stuff I loved growing up.
I still think Clerks is a horrible movie.
I think it's the wrong time.
Oh man.
You got you at the wrong time in life, probably a couple decades too late, you know?
Yeah, probably. Maybe in my Slidell Mall days.
Bruh, as a kid that was like it was the shit. It was everything.
That's funny.
So you got to think about this, dude. I think we were going to talk about this one time on stream. In the 90s, so Clerks is what, like 94? 95? Something like that? Like, it's going to be early. It's really early on. Like, you can't even comprehend the world, what the world was like at that point. And comic
94.
books were not what they are today. Like, by any stretch of the imagination, comics weren't what they are today. They were completely different, and there was almost like no comic culture. There were guys that would go to the comic shop and like hang out and stuff like that. Like you would have those kind of things going on, but there was no, dude, it wasn't this fandom and comic cons and cosplay and girls. None of that existed. It was just dudes that were like, man, I like Wolverine or something. I like Spider-Man. You go to your comic shop, you pick up your folders, you bitch about the books, you make fun of each other, and then you get on your bike and you ride home, you know? And Clerks was the first, man, probably one of the first things that identified that culture and didn't make it super, super nerdy and like make the people that read comics like losers, or like they had girlfriends, they were funny, they were quick-witted, they were the cool kids, and they read comics. And that was like the first time you ever saw something like that. And for me at that time, when I'm like literally going to the mall and I'm like an 8th grader or a 7th grader, dude, blew my world. Yeah, dude, it defined who like I probably eventually became were those movies, because I wanted to be like Brody, I wanted to be like Randall growing up. So yeah, they were just iconic. They were huge. And this is back in the day where like you don't have Netflix. I know I sound like Oogie Boogie old man, but like, dude, you know what I'm saying though, bro? Like, dude, if you were even, this is in a world where it was like, if you can even get Clerks to watch it, like, where do you even get it? That was the first battle for the first few years. You heard about it. Like, you would hear people, oh man, you'd hear about Clerks. But you never, it's not like you could just go rent it or order it off of Amazon or Redbox or whatever. So like you had to
Blockbuster and get it?
Dude, it was a different time. Blockbuster only has so much shelf space, and that's going to go to like popular movies that are coming out at that time period. Not some indie flick that some dude sold his comic book collection to make in black and white at a grocery store. Like, it just grew from word of mouth. And I remember actually finally watching it maybe a year or so later on like one of my birthdays. And yeah, man, it was just a thing. It was a thing.
How did you end up getting a hold of the movie to watch?
Dude, somebody might have rented it or brought it over. I don't know. I don't remember. I remember like roughly the time period. I was probably like 7th grade-ish.
Dude, so 2 things. I remember going to Blockbuster and renting Nintendo 64 games. That might be like my earliest millennial memory. And then I remember my brother used to have the hookup on bootleg DVDs. Yeah, and it was always a toss-up of what you were going to get. Like, if it was a good quality or if it's like, dude with a camcorder.
Yeah, I mean, eventually these were things that you could get at, like, the mall or there were places you could get it, like, on VHS. But, yeah, up until that point, like, it was a hard thing to get your hands on. For sure. So it was a thing. So I'm just saying that was a big deal at the time. And so for you watching it, it might be like a little bit of throwaway, or maybe there's so much hype around it. It doesn't, you know, you're like, this is it? Like, this is Clerks? But you got to put it in perspective of, like, of the time period. And so when Mallrats comes out, like, that's a whole nother thing. And then when Chasing Amy's the first time you ever see comic book artist in a movie. Like it's the comic. It's not about people who look at comic books and read comic books at a grocery store or a convenience store. Now there's a movie about comic book artists and their lives and how they live. And man, bro, somebody that was already trending in that direction, dude. Like, yeah, seeing Holden McNeil and Banky Edwards, and in Chasing Amy, man, that movie. That's like my favorite one.
Did any of them have chickens?
No, I think they grew weed like out of the window. No, nobody had chickens.
Similar, I guess.
Well, no, but like it did, like, you didn't even know what that was. And it was just like, dude, these dudes just kind of like chill out and draw all day. And like, dude, it was just awesome. Go to comic conventions and like that, literally the stuff I'm doing now, more or less in life. Yeah, but it was, and it had, and you know, there was a love story and somebody screwed over some woman screwed over Kevin Smith when he was younger. I don't know if you ever talked about that story, but somebody got him. And it shows up in the movies a lot. So yeah, man.
Huh.
Alyssa Jones.
Don't have a cow. Captain and the new Super Mario World will be back after these messages.